Welcome, Internet hipsters. Here are the PC gaming deep cuts that your mates haven't heard of yet. Things move fast in 2023. Mullets have come, gone, and come back into fashion again since you started watching this video. Asus ROG announced a metric ton of new product at CES at Las Vegas, including this Raikiri Pro controller that we can't stop looking at. And already more games have released than anybody could possibly keep track of. The digital content tap never stops flowing, and that means there's a good chance you've never played the amazing games on this list. Subscribe to the channel to manipulate YouTube's algorithm for the power of good, hit the thumbs up button if we recommend you a title that catches your attention, and get ready to name drop some of the following games for instant hipster points. 2013 was a weird year. Everyone was trying to get their heads around the BioShock Infinite ending, and then for reasons nobody can remember, some people started a backlash because they thought that ending wasn't as clever as anyone was saying, and then we all just completely forgot about all that because GTA 5 and The Last of Us came out. But out in the wilds, away from all the Twitter arguments, Dragon's Dogma was just quietly getting on with being the strangest, most innovative, and did we mention strangest RPG of the year. The combat system is uniquely tactile, letting you clamber all over its huge mythical beasts and attack them while riding them piggyback. But the headline act here is the pawn system. That's pawn with an A, by the way. You create an AI sidekick, so far so normal, but these sidekicks can go off and learn about the world independently, and then offer you advice about how to tackle enemies and obstacles if they've encountered them before. You can also recruit other people's pawns, so there's always a talent pool of well-trained companions at the ready when you reach a tough section. And this is all happening in a super detailed RPG which mixes Souls-like and JRPG elements together in a more Western, open-world format. For example, NPCs will often warn you not to leave town after dark, and you're like, yeah, right, sure. I suppose all the monsters will get me, will they? What age do they teach you that in NPC school? And then you leave town after dark. And it's absolutely pitch black, because of course it is, and then you realise why all the NPCs were telling you that. What a game. Like most of the titles on this list, Dragon's Dogma is available on Games Planet, where the ROG faithful can get huge discounts via the ROG Armory Crate. Head over there and get this one installed. It's worth doing it for the opening fight against this gross chimera thing alone. We could just fill up this whole list with overlooked RPGs if we liked. We see you there, Kingdoms of Amalur. But let's mix things up just a little with a racing game next. The Crew 2 isn't exactly a tiny indie game, coming from a major publisher in Ubisoft and, being a quite big sequel to an already quite big 2014 original game. And it's not even that it didn't sell well, it's just that, for some reason, nobody ever seems to talk about this game. Which is odd, considering that you can drive a road trip from East to West Coast USA in about an hour and instantly turn your car into a stunt plane if you get bored blitzing a hypercar down a freeway along the way. And then dive thousands of feet from the sky, transforming again into a motocross bike ready to tear up some off-road. As racing games go, that's some USP. Maybe it's the sheer excellence of the Forza Horizon series that keeps the Crew 2 in the shadows. We love Horizon 2, but for sheer messing about and co-op appeal, Ubisoft's massive map of America is unrivaled. Plus, there are some epic race distances, including this personal favourite of ours on Harley-Davidsons from the Vegas Strip to Yosemite National Park. If you're a petrol head and the Horizon Seasonal Challenges grind is getting a bit familiar, head over to Games Planet and give this one a spin. We've ramped up the nicheometer to full for this next entry, a detective game on a beautiful island full of anthropomorphized animals. Animals capable of precisely two things: being scared by ghosts and coming out with absolute zingers. Think of Frog Detective like Knives Out meets The Wind in the Willows. You're uncovering a mystery using deduction, questioning witnesses, and you just happen to be a frog, which is a cool feature. And we're showing the first episode here, but really we're talking about the whole Frog Detective series. It's so hard to do funny well in games, particularly such an offbeat and wholesome brand of funny. Each of these 3 episodes is only about an hour long, but their time to laughs ratio is up there with the best Netflix comedy specials. Honestly, after playing this game, we get the giggles even looking at some of these guys. No. Frog Detective takes you from haunted beaches to invisible wizards in the Warlock Woods, and even into Western territory. If you like looking at things under a magnifying glass and laughing, you should be all about this one. The Warhammer 40k universe seems perfect for real-time strategy games when you think about it. Powerful factions warring forever in an endless universe, each of them finely balanced with their own strengths and weaknesses. It's like the whole thing was dreamed up for some kind of game or something. And while that can't possibly be true because we read the lore books and we're pretty sure all this stuff actually happened, will happen, whatever, Dawn of War 3 shows us just what a perfect formula it makes for an RTS. Firstly, you can paint your faction's units, and this is an extremely important feature because looking good on the battlefield is everything. But also, Relic Entertainment really nailed the tension of scrabbling around in space with limited resources, bringing the scale of combat down to a manageable level, but one that's still capable of showing some epic battles. The MOBA elements that Relic introduced might have scared away some of the RTS traditionalists, and that could explain why it didn't sell as well as publisher Sega had hoped when it released in 2017. But honestly, those traditionalists didn't need to worry at all. It's not Dota with greenskins. The super powerful units you control can turn the tide of battle, but they're just one piece of your extensive arsenal. For spectacular battles, an interesting tactical scale, and many shades of paint for your tanks, this underrated strategy deserves your love, and it's currently discounted on Games Planet.
I shall have no remorse.
The Mad Max universe has served cinema well over the years, but on paper, it's not the most exciting setting for a game. For starters, there is quite a lot of sand here, isn't there? There's not much left of a world worth fighting for here either. And where in this wilderness are we going to get a wide body kit for our sweet ride? And yet somehow, Warner Bros. 2015 open world game Mad Max takes all that samey sand and turns it into a gripping open world shooter meets vehicular love story. The quests all feel meaningful and memorable, even the side stuff that's off the beaten path. And the Mad Max world has been captured so well that we find ourselves with more leather jackets and cans of dog food in our Amazon baskets than we ever used to. Fighting in this world feels like tightly choreographed dance, all flowing animations like the Arkham series, except presumably with a lot more coughing afterwards while everyone clears their lungs after all the dust they just inhaled. And the vehicles. Oh, the vehicles. It's so rare for games to get vehicular combat right. Shout out to anyone who still remembers Interstate 76. And this is one of those rare examples. If you missed it at launch back in 2015, like a lot of people did, track it down on Games Planet and give this one a try. You'll be surprised. If you got this far in the video and we still haven't served up a game that you haven't played yet, well, allow us to present Backbone, the finest raccoon detective point and click that 2021 had to offer. And alright, admittedly that's not such a crowded market, but the way it summons gorgeous noir scenes like the SNES is still the hip new games console in town, it'd be among our favourites from basically any year of the last 30. And in true noir tradition, you play the role of a private eye hired to track down a distraught woman's missing hubby, only to find that said hubby's private life was a bit more sordid than anybody realised. Oh, and also, in this case, everyone's cute woodland creatures in suits, okay? Okay. And hang on, what's going on down at this glitzy nightclub in town? There's something sus about the meat they're serving up there, I've heard. Unsurprisingly, for a noir point-and-click game about raccoons, this one wasn't rubbing shoulders with the likes of COD and NBA 2K in the charts when it released in 2021. But it definitely deserves more attention than it got. Head over to Games Planet for a deal on it. We're finishing with the granddaddy of underappreciated games. This is the actually, I prefer The Godfather 3 of interactive entertainment. The game that everyone will recommend you play, but somehow a game that nobody has actually played. Please welcome to the stage, Titanfall 2. Developer Respawn would go on to implement all the slick parkour-style movements and snappy gun combat into Apex Legends a couple of years later, but it's just as enjoyable to run and shoot here in its 2016 mech shooter. But the mechanics aren't usually what people refer to about this game, even though they're impeccable. Instead, Titanfall 2 is in possession of one of the best solo campaigns in FPS gaming. It's always adding a new element, surprising you, giving you a new toy to play with, and then serving you the perfect playground where you can experiment with that toy. Also, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, there's giant mechs everywhere. So yeah, enough said. Titanfall 2.
I hope I can live up to the honor.
Go on then, tell us how many of these games you've actually played down in the comments. Hopefully we've served you up at least one curveball here. Share this video with a friend who's in need of some PC gaming hipster points. Remember to subscribe to us for more, and until next time, if your loved one goes missing and you fear for their safety, maybe don't hire a raccoon to track them down. See you in the next one.